Yes, people, we're back again. Match reaction: Arsenal 2, Tottenham 1 in the North London derby. And the main question is: are Arsenal back? Are they back in the title race? As everyone is saying, let's go straight into it. So obviously last night the North London derby was played, and Arsenal won it by 2-1. This was the team that did feature for both teams in the derby. So you got Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Skelly, Rice, Partey, Odegaard, Sterling, Havertz, Trossard. For Tottenham, Hinsky, Porro, Dragusin, Gray, Spence, Bergwall, Basuma, Sarr, Kulusevski, Solanke, and Son. And obviously the players that came off the bench as well. Obviously the rest of the bench as well. There was a lot of injuries into this game, and I think last night did play into future. You could tell there's a lot of injuries, especially for Tottenham. They had basically their whole back five near enough out. Vicario was out, Romero, Udogie, Mika van der Ben was out, Benton Core was out. So they're missing what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main starters. As for Arsenal, they're missing, you could argue, 2 main starters there, Calafiori and Saka. Calafiori were playing for Lewis Skelly, and then obviously Saka for Raheem Sterling. So you can tell there's a lot of injuries, especially for Tottenham. But I feel like it was a good North London derby in the first half. The second half was very dead. So the first half basically just all domination from Arsenal. Tottenham genuinely just couldn't get out the box. They couldn't get out the traps. Arsenal was just setting up constantly for them. And then they took a bit of bravery. And I think one player that deserves a shout out after yesterday's game, the Tottenham team were poor, was this man, Bergvall. He was one of the best players for Tottenham last night, and the reason that was when they was pigged in, players like him were picking up the ball and driving it up the midfield, and then like releasing it to either Spence at left back or Son, and then they'll win a corner from it. They had a couple of chances, obviously Son had a chance, Kulusevski had a chance, Solanke. By the way, that tackle, the clearance from Gabriel where almost landed to Solanke, that is just simply world class. And then they do eventually get the goal from the corner. It's a really good finish from Son. I think it does take a deflection from William Saliba, though. So, yeah. And then after that, there's about a 10-minute spell where it's quite even. And then Tottenham go back into their old selves, cave in. And then Arsenal do get the breakthrough from a corner that wasn't a corner. How it was a corner, I don't know. It literally goes back off Trossard, but those things happen in football. The one thing I don't understand is you have VAR. You have normally about 20 seconds to check. Why can't you be checking these angles? You have all these angles when it comes to offsides and penalties and stuff, but you don't use them for corners. You don't use them for anything else. I don't know how that's not a simple check there. Do you know what I mean? So if you check for penalties and free kicks and stuff, check them for corners. Because we know how good Arsenal are at set pieces. There's a highly likely chance they're going to score from a set piece. If it's not a corner, it's not a corner. Do you know what I mean? And then they score again. Just really, in hindsight, watching it, it would look like a good goal from Trossard outside the box. Lovely little run. But Kinski should have saved it. He was dreadful yesterday, by the way. The way he was just releasing the ball, he just didn't look comfortable. The crowd was on him. Like, you can tell he couldn't feel comfortable with the atmosphere and everything in the North London derby. And I think that really played fear into the back four as well in the whole team. I feel like Dragusin and Gray was feeling it. They know that this guy is not confident. and that's going to feed off to the other players, especially when the whole team isn't confident right now, considering their league position and stuff like that. But I think, in hindsight, Arsenal, I think they're just happy to get all 3 points. In the second half, they dominated. They should have won by 4 or 5. And again, going back to that situation, if this is against a team that has a good goalkeeper and they don't get the look of the corner, they drop 2 points. They dropped 2 points and it's back to square one. So realistically, it came down to luck. It really did came down to luck. And that's why I'm not a fan of this. Everyone's saying, oh yeah, Arsenal are back, blah, blah, blah. What, after a win against Tottenham? I mean, this team is going to be joint 15 by tonight if Manchester United win. I was impressed with the pressing and stuff like that from Arsenal because it works really well. It was good for them. But overall, in terms of the hindsight of the win, no, not really, because again, do you get that look every week with a corner? Probably not. If you face a decent goalkeeper, I'll tell you what, if they actually played Forest, they lose that game. Because Matt Sells, God, if they had Matt Sells in goal, Tottenham, I think they probably nicked the win. And then the goal from the corner as well was shocking defending. Why is Dragusin just letting Gabriel run? No proper real challenge to actually defend him when we know in the league he's the dangerous player from a corner. I think he's on 6, 7 goals in the league this season from corners. Like, come on, do your homework. And then obviously, I think it does take a slight direction off Solanke, which is unlucky as well. But there was a few positives for Spurs. Bergvall looks like a real talent. I do like the look of him. Jed Spence, another good performance from him because I feel like he's starting to come into his own now. Because obviously, with the likes of injuries of Destiny Adogi and players like that, he's starting to really thrive of getting more and more minutes. I mean, let's actually have a look at the Premier League table after last night's results. I mean, Arsenal do close the gap. They actually capitalise on a Liverpool win. That's 4 wins in 5 for them. They drop points at Brighton. They've got Aston Villa next. Obviously, Liverpool have got Brentford. If you do, what's the form of the last 5 games? Well, Newcastle. Newcastle... are they in a title race, Newcastle? Because everyone... Newcastle are only 9 points behind Liverpool. And the form that Arsenal and Liverpool are in, if they're not careful, they have a real chance of just keep pushing up that league. Who would have thought at the start of the season, by the way, that Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest and Newcastle will be the top 4? I think people would have thought maybe Chelsea, with considering the money they spent, and definitely Manchester City and Aston Villa to especially kick on. I know Aston Villa's, they're starting to slowly improve now. But you would have thought they would have been up there. Maybe Brighton a bit higher. And obviously Manchester United and Tottenham. God, they're just dog, aren't they? Yeah, Spurs could go down to 14th, joint 15th tonight. No wins in their last 5. Lost to Liverpool 6-3. Lost to Forest 1-0. 2-2 Wolves. 2-1 Newcastle. 2-1 Arsenal. Now, I think they're not getting Europe, personally. I think for them, it's all about focus on the League Cup and the Europa League. It's all about the cups. If you're a Spurs fan, what's the table on XG? That's actually interesting. Liverpool would be top on XG, apparently, by 5 points. That is actually interesting. Man City would be 7th. Bloody hell. Brentford would be 13th. They would actually have some points, Southampton. If it was actually based off XG, they might have a chance. But off that, let's actually have a look at Arsenal's fixtures. Let's have a look at the Arsenal fixtures coming up, though, as if you're an Arsenal fan. So you got Aston Villa. Then you obviously got Dino Zagreb in the Champions League, Wolves, Girona, Man City, Newcastle again, then Leicester. You got West Ham, Forest, Man U. I think if you're an Arsenal fan, I need to put up the Champions League group stage. Champions League group phase. Tables and standings. Let's have a look at this. Arsenal are third. To be fair, they're only a point out. So I think the main focus for Arsenal in the next couple of weeks, if I was an Arsenal fan, get the Champions League boxed off, to be honest, because I think you'll beat Wolves within that time. I think Aston Villa could very much be a draw. I think the chances that Spurs do get, I think Villa probably finish them. I think Villa are a better side than Tottenham. Better, well drilled. And we've seen that last season when Villa did the double over them. So that's going to be an interesting game Saturday, 5:30 kickoff. They've actually got Manchester City coming up soon. So the next 3 games in the league, they've got Villa, Wolves, and Man City, and then they've obviously got Leicester and West Ham. I think for them, in their next 5, they need to win minimum 4. Probably even, you're probably saying all 5. Villa, you've got to be winning at home. Yes, they're a good side, but you're at that point now where you've got to be winning these games. And then their next 5, they need to win, because after that, that's where it is tough. It's the back end of the season as well. You got Forest away, Man U away, Chelsea, Fulham, Everton. We don't know what Everton are going to be like by then. You know, Fulham are a decent side. That's a bogey team. I remember they dropped points there to Fulham last season. Chelsea, you know, Man U are crap. It's Old Trafford, and you know, Man United look like they're potentially turning a corner. So that could be an interesting game. And Forest is a tough game. They'll probably lose that. And then at the end of the season, they've got Liverpool and Newcastle back to back. So it's going to be really interesting if you are an Arsenal fan. Do Arsenal go on and still challenge for the title? I think they'll still challenge. I still think Liverpool win the title. I just think, you know, this happens in football where teams go through like a 2-3 game blip. And I think that's what Liverpool are going through right now. It's not like we're playing absolutely dog football. You know, on another day, we win that game at Forest, and, you know, the gap is not closed. So, you know, we're not going to be facing world-class goalkeepers every week, are we, if you're Liverpool. So, but yeah, so that's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure you do smash a like on the video. Are Arsenal back in the title race? Will they go on to win it? I suppose we'll have to wait and see in the next couple of months. But for me, they need to get through the next 5, because after that, it's looking sticky for them if they don't win. So, yeah, take care. Up the Reds. And Arsenal, you're not winning the title.